There is a terrifying psychological reason why the most powerful men in history rarely looked busy. While you are panicking, rushing, and trying to force your way to the top, elite operators are using a hidden, asymmetrical advantage to outmaneuver you without breaking a sweat. Your desperate need to constantly take action is a fatal flaw, and it is mathematically destroying your status right now. Ancient emperors used one strict rule to build massive empires while maintaining absolute inner peace. If you cannot master this mental framework today, you will spend the rest of your life executing other people's plans. Let's deconstruct the deadly trap of outworking everyone. Society has programmed you with a highly profitable lie. Since you were a child, you were told that the ultimate key to success is blind, relentless effort. The modern world calls it hustle culture. You are conditioned to believe that if you just wake up earlier, sacrifice your sleep, answer emails at midnight, and outwork your competition, you will eventually reach the top of the hierarchy. This is a scam. It is an industrial illusion designed to keep you running endlessly on a wheel you can never own. Look around you. The people who are sweating the most, running the fastest, and talking the loudest are rarely the people in charge. Movement does not equal progress. Being busy is not a badge of honor. It is a public confession of strategic incompetence. When you fill every second of your day with tasks, meetings, and reactions, you are operating entirely on survival instincts. You are letting cortisol and adrenaline dictate your decisions. The 1% operate in a completely different dimension. They understand that leverage is not created by doing everything, but by observing the chaos, conserving energy, and striking only when the mathematical probability of success is absolute. Right now, your addiction to constant movement is blinding your peripheral vision. You are working so hard to chop down the tree that you have failed to notice you are in the wrong forest. Why outworking everyone destroys leverage. To understand why constant action is a vulnerability, you must analyze the mechanics of power. Leverage is the ability to exert maximum force with minimum effort. When you are always busy, always available, and always reacting, you possess zero leverage. You become entirely predictable. Your competitors, your boss, and the market know exactly where you are and how much pressure it takes to exhaust you. Examine the military genius of George Washington during the American Revolution. The popular myth portrays Washington as a towering, brute force commander who met the British Army head-on in glorious battle. The historical reality is much darker and far more strategic. Washington knew that his continental army was undersupplied, fragile, and vastly outnumbered. If he had bought into the emotional urge to outwork and outfight the British in direct combat, the American rebellion would have been crushed in a matter of weeks. Instead, Washington deployed tactical evasion. He refused to fight. He waged a war of shadows. He utilized what military strategists call the flank attack and the strategic withdrawal. He told his generals to never attack where it is obvious, but only where little danger is apprehended. Washington was a master of frustrating his enemy by simply not being there. He let the British march maneuver and exhaust their massive supply chains trying to force a battle that Washington would not give them. He preserved his energy while his enemy burned theirs. If you are constantly outworking everyone, you are the British Army in this scenario. You are marching heavily across the map, burning your finite capital, your time, your health, your cognitive bandwidth, trying to force a victory through sheer attrition. You are fighting a war of ego. The elite do not wage wars of attrition. They wait in the shadows, they preserve their leverage, and they let you exhaust yourself before they take everything you have built. The Stoic truth about exhaustion. Why do you feel this burning need to always be doing something? It is not ambition, it is fear. The philosopher Seneca observed this pathology 2,000 years ago when he wrote, "There is nothing the busy man is less busied with than living." Your constant hustle is a coping mechanism. It is a psychological anesthetic. Weak minds use constant action to drown out the terrifying silence of their own thoughts. If you stop moving, you might have to face the painful truth that your strategy is flawed, that your relationships are failing, or that you are deeply unhappy with your current trajectory. So you keep working. You stay busy to avoid facing reality. To break this cycle, you must look at the chilling objectivity of Thomas Edison. At age 67, Edison was already a global icon. He had spent decades building a massive empire of research and production facilities. One evening, a catastrophic chemical fire broke out on his campus. It was a true disaster. The flames shot 7 stories into the air, completely uncontrollable. Years of priceless prototypes, records, and research were turning to ash. A normal man, a man addicted to frantic action, would have lost his mind. He would have wept, screamed at the firemen, or rushed into the burning buildings in a desperate, futile attempt to save his life's work. He would have felt the biological need to do something. Edison did none of that. He calmly walked to the inferno, found his son, and told him to go get his mother. "They'll never see a fire like this again," he said. Edison stood perfectly still. He observed the destruction of his empire with a smug, almost childlike fascination. "We've just got rid of a lot of rubbish," he remarked. Edison possessed the ultimate Stoic discipline, amor fati, a love of fate. He understood that frantic action in the face of an uncontrollable event is a waste of metabolic energy. He refused to let panic dictate his physical movements. He conserved his mental restraint, went to sleep, and the very next morning began rebuilding. Within a month, his men were churning out new products. When you panic and try to outwork a disaster, you are adding a second problem to the first. You are compounding the crisis with your own exhaustion. The Stoic truth is brutal. Sometimes, doing absolutely nothing is the highest form of action you can take. How the system traps the ambitious. The corporate and social matrix of the modern world is specifically engineered to exploit your ambition. The system wants you to believe that the only way to solve a problem is to follow the established rules, file the correct paperwork, and grind through the hierarchy. They set up an endless series of hoops for you to jump through, knowing that by the time you reach the end, you will be too tired to challenge their authority. In the early 20th century, the American fruit trade was dominated by a massive, ruthless monopoly called United Fruit. When a land dispute arose in the jungles of Central America over 5,000 acres of valuable territory, United Fruit reacted exactly how the system expects you to react. They deployed a small army of high-powered lawyers. They spent massive amounts of money, time, and human effort digging through legal files, fighting in court, and trying to outwork their opposition. They wanted to win by brute force. Their competitor was a small, independent operator named Samuel Zemurray. Zemurray was vastly outmatched in capital and manpower. He could not outwork United Fruit in the courtroom, so he refused to play their game. Instead of fighting through the complex legal system, Zemurray quietly located the two local men who both claimed to own the deed to the land. He met with them separately, and he simply bought the land from both of them. He paid twice, but he instantly bypassed years of exhausting legal battles. He took possession of the territory while United Fruit's lawyers were still busy filing paperwork. This is the essence of radical pragmatism. While you are blindly following the rules, working 80 hours a week to slowly climb a ladder that someone else built, elite operators are looking for the side door. They are looking for the asymmetrical pivot. The system traps the ambitious by giving them busywork that feels important. You are spending your life trying to win a game that is rigged against you. The 1% do not outwork the system, they outthink it. They realize that forcing a solution through traditional channels eliminates their leverage. Stop trying to prove how hard you can push against a reinforced wall. Step back, conserve your energy, and walk around it. The psychological cost of never resting. There is a biological limit to your cognitive bandwidth. When you are caught in the trap of constant movement, you suffer from what psychologists call cognitive tunneling. Your brain becomes so hyper-focused on the immediate tasks, the urgent emails, and the daily grind that it entirely shuts down your peripheral awareness. You lose the ability to see the macro landscape. You become a reactionary machine, responding to stimuli rather than engineering your own reality. This is how smart people end up wasting a decade of their lives building a business they hate, or climbing to the top of a corporate ladder only to realize it is leaning against the wrong wall. To master your reality, you must learn to decouple your physical survival from your mental state. Look at the terrifying discipline of James Stockdale, a United States Navy pilot shot down over Vietnam. Stockdale spent over 7 years as a prisoner of war, including 2 years wearing heavy leg irons in solitary confinement. In a POW camp, the primal human instinct is frantic self-preservation. Some soldiers, driven mad by the stress and the horrific conditions, turned into feral animals. They fought each other, they panicked, they hustled for scraps of food, operating purely on the frantic need to survive the day. Stockdale recognized that this desperate, panicked movement would destroy them. He realized that as a commander, his duty was not to frantically fight his captors or scramble for his own survival. His duty was to impose order. He completely suppressed his own panic. He utilized absolute mental restraint to build a covert communication network among the prisoners. He created a unified code of conduct. He gave them a watchword: unity over self. He sacrificed the desperate, chaotic hustle of individual survival in order to build an impenetrable psychological fortress for his men. Stockdale survived because he refused to let external chaos dictate his internal rhythm. He understood that when the environment is actively trying to destroy you, moving faster only accelerates your demise. When you are exhausted, when you are stressed, and when the market is turning against you, your instinct will scream at you to work harder. You will want to stay up all night and force the issue. That is the exact moment you must stop. You must practice the discipline of the will. You must recognize that the psychological cost of never resting is the total loss of your strategic superiority. The ultimate power of mental restraint. The ancient philosophy of Stoicism, much like the Eastern concept of Wu Wei, hinges on the profound power of non-action. It is the mastery of knowing exactly what is within your control and having the terrifying discipline to ignore everything else. It is not apathy, it is not laziness. It is the highest form of tactical precision. It is the ability to sit in a room full of panicked, frantic people and remain completely undisturbed. When you finally stop outworking everyone, a massive shift occurs in your reality. Because you are no longer reacting to every minor crisis, the actions you do choose to take carry exponential weight. You stop fighting the current and you start using the river's own momentum to propel you forward. You stop arguing with idiots. You stop trying to force clients to buy. You stop chasing validation. You build an inner citadel, a mental fortress where your peace of mind is entirely decoupled from the noise of the outside world. The people who control this world do not run on hamster wheels. They own the wheels. They let the ambitious, insecure masses exhaust themselves trying to prove their worth. They let the market fluctuate. They sit back, perfectly insulated, and they watch. And when the exact right moment presents itself, when the enemy is tired, when the asset is undervalued, when the path is completely clear, they strike with devastating, singular force. You must drop the illusion that exhaustion makes you noble. It makes you a target. It makes you weak. It makes you a slave to a system that will replace you the second your heart gives out. Protect your time. Guard your cognitive energy. Learn the terrifying, lethal art of tactical stillness and watch how quickly the world bends to your silence. Time for brutal honesty. Look inward right now. Are you grinding 14 hours a day because it is actually moving the needle, or because your ego is simply terrified of sitting in absolute silence with your own thoughts? Defend your position in the comments below.